Welcome to the How to Hire podcast, where we learn from amazing leaders how to build great cultures and hire the best talent. I'm your host, Matt Shore, CEO of StevenDouglas. Now I'm joined with my co-host today, Elizabeth Jacobs, Executive Vice President of StevenDouglas, and she's been running our finance and HR search business for the last 24 years. And Elizabeth and I are very excited to bring our guest here, Paul Sherman, who's the co-founder of ShermanSamuels, which is an advisory firm that helps companies succeed along their growth journey. His background includes public accounting over in London. He moved to the States and worked in investment banking. He then worked in strategy, finance, and operations roles at Burger King Corporation, L&R Properties, and then ABB Optical. His background really cuts across a lot of different industries and a lot of different types of ownership structures. He's been in a division of a public company. He's been a CFO of a public company that went through a private equity transaction. He went into a minority-owned private equity business that got bought by a bigger private equity fund. And now he gets the opportunity to build his own business with his own culture from scratch in a very intentional way. So we're excited to hear about all of that experience and all the differences of hiring people in those different cultures. Welcome, Paul. Excited to have you here.
Thank you, Matt.
And, Elizabeth, I was excited to have you join us because, we've had a business partnership with Paul for many, many years. And Elizabeth and her team were instrumental in helping building the teams that Paul was building. So you'll get some perspective on hiring from both sides, which will be fun. So, I gave an overview of your background. I thought maybe we could start a little bit with some of the early experiences on the negative side. We all have things we learn early on in our careers that we want to emulate and things that maybe we don't want to. So maybe what were some of the early negative experiences?
I was blessed to have a negative experience, Matt, on my first day in public accounting. I got sent to a client, told to ask for the manager, Peter. I don't remember the name of any other managers in that time, but I have never forgotten Peter's name. As I went to shake his hand, he didn't take my hand. Instead, he screamed, "Get me a coffee now."
Wow.
And I've never forgotten the negative side of that. Is I've never forgotten the delight in his face at how he wanted to make me feel. To this day, I have never asked anybody to get a coffee for me, and I vowed never to treat people the way he took pleasure in treating me.
Unreal. It's unreal. And if he asked you nicely, you would have been happy to.
I would have assumed that was just what we do.
Like a part of it.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure I got a lot of coffee at public accounting, and I made a lot of copies, by the way. So let's talk about the positive. So, early on and along the way, what were some of those things that you thought, gosh, if I ever get a chance to lead, these are the things that I want to implement?
Yeah, positive and a negative in the same experience. When I was a young manager at Burger King, I was awarded the CEO Award of Excellence. And the CFO at the time that he handed me this beautiful award said, "Take it home, don't tell anyone. People are going to be jealous." And what I took from that throughout my career is we should celebrate good things. People should see it. We should explain it. The right types of people should aspire to understand that award and how it is they can be awarded that in the future. So just in my leadership journey, I've celebrated people's successes, tiny successes, brought it to other people's attentions, and just wanted for the people around them to aspire to achieve the same.
No, that's great.
And I think that the job is the job no matter where you work. If you're recruiting, we're recruiting here, we're recruiting down the street. It's our culture, it's how we make people feel, how we leave them each day that really seems to resonate with them. And I think why we have the tenure that we have with the team. It's the culture that we've built.
Without a doubt. And Paul, and I'd love Elizabeth's comments on this as well. So I'd love to talk through some of the different challenges. We talked about different industries, different sizes of companies, different types of companies, right, that you worked with along the way as you were kind of rising through the ranks and in the C-suite. Talk about the challenges, opportunities, kind of the differences, hiring at a Burger King Corporation, really well-known, big global company, right? You've got a global parent that's publicly traded. L&R, a little bit different, Wall Street type firm on South Beach, and then ABB, which a lot of people hadn't ever heard of, right? More of an entrepreneur-led business. Talk about those, and then Elizabeth, you were on the other side of some of the hiring and building that was going on. Maybe talk about some of the challenges and what are the good things also about recruiting in those environments. So.
It was more challenging to get them hired than to get them to say yes, because there wasn't a lot of opportunity in South Florida. And so for the candidates that were looking for that name, that recognizable name, that was one of the players, in town where people wanted to go. So we were able to get talent for them. And the noise of a lot of the turnover, they were isolated from that. Their leadership was steady, right? There was the tenure there amongst their direct reports and who they were getting to work with each day. So we were able to kind of keep that noise out of the recruitment process. And the name really did help back then.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, one of our proudest moments is that we got to place Jay Samuels there. How many years ago now? 28?
30 years ago.
30 years ago. And he's the Samuels in ShermanSamuels. He's followed Paul to every company that Paul's been a leader at, and now they're partners. And he's also a great friend. So that was a good one.
Very meaningful.
That was a good one. So, and talk about the next stop, going to L&R Properties.
L&R Property was an amazing environment, very unusual on South Beach, the kind of environment that you would tend to find on Wall Street.
Not that unusual anymore.
Not anymore, but complex financial instruments. The challenge was the intense, hardworking environment. The hours were long. And that expectation was there. It was there all the time, every day. And not everybody's built and wired that way. For me, I thrived. I was learning. I was growing. It became my first CFO opportunity. But the challenge was finding the right character who wanted to work in that environment.
Yeah.
I was loving the opportunity, the growth in my career, and I wasn't going to move. And so my stance was, I've got to go in South Florida where the opportunity is.
Well, I loved recruiting for L&R because that was a lot of my world at the time. So, my background prior to my other life before recruiting was that. So L&R was like a baby for me. Like that was my place that I loved to recruit for.
Right.
But you had to find the right person that absolutely was okay doing the hours and doing the commute and doing it all. So really trying to find the talent. And at the time, locally, it was a very small pool, very small. So there was the opportunity to try to relocate folks that were leaving the Northeast, even some of the Midwest, coming to, South Florida, looking for that better quality of life, so to speak, but with the understanding that you can feel like you're still in New York. The hours, the culture is very similar, but you get to live in South Florida. Yeah. So it's really about trying to find the right candidate who knew exactly kind of what they were getting into. Better location, for sure, better weather, but very similar work, which for some people was a win because they loved and they thrived in a New York culture. They just really were tired of like the winters and everything.
Like you.
Like me.
So for perspective, she worked at Morgan Stanley for 7 years, CPA, MBA, before she got in the recruiting business. So this was her world, really. L&R was like the ideal client for you.
I truly loved recruiting for L&R,
sure,
and I could, really talk to candidates about that culture very well and what it was like to be in Florida and still be surrounded with folks like themselves in that culture.
And the CFO that's there today, how long ago did you place her?
Almost 20 years.
20 years ago.
It'll be 20 years in May.
Just incredible, incredible. I happen to know ABB before you even went there, right? Because I had the good fortune of meeting Angel and Brad, who are amazing guys, entrepreneur-led business, had taken on some minority equity, looking to really scale and build out an executive team from the outside. You coming in, kind of, taking all the good parts of that culture and trying to level up. And what was it like recruiting there?
Well, it was a different challenge, Matt, because ABB Concise, as the company was known back then, nobody had ever heard of that company.
And for everybody's context, what do they do?
It is the nation's largest distributor of contact lenses to 25,000 eye doctors and manufacturer of lenses. But it's in a corporate park in Coral Springs. So nobody was knocking down Elizabeth's door. Ooh, you have to get me an interview at ABB Concise. So it was a different challenge. It wasn't by name alone. It had to be by the growth story and my story and how that could be exciting for a candidate who wants to grow in their career within a growing company in South Florida.
But the business was growing rapidly, and along the way you were leveling up. You obviously recruited Jay over, right, and some other folks that had followed you. But now you're leveling up talent. The business is getting more complex. You're looking to bring in kind of best in breed folks and really build it up. So talk about trying to find those folks, and then kind of having the right partner.
Having StevenDouglas, having Elizabeth working with us as our ambassador, understanding me, understanding our growth story, I could have total confidence that Elizabeth and her team could articulate why a candidate should take an interview at ABB Concise, which we changed our name as we grew to ABB Optical Group. But I knew that first step in their discovery started with Elizabeth and her team. Folks that understood that growing a business that had already been successful without us, but enhancing what had made the company, what had made it so special, but at the same time being the change that was necessary to take it to $1 billion company and beyond.
He's not easy, which is great because the great ones get hired by him all the time. So it was really two things, right? It was knowing the culture, where they were at, where they got to what point, understanding it, and then understanding truly where they were headed. And that is like part one of getting a candidate excited of, look what's ahead of you, right? Look what they've done and look what you can be part of. But the other part was my relationship with Paul for so many years, having placed so many people with him successfully, having no one ever leave because they weren't happy working for him. That's huge when you're calling a candidate and you can say, I've been working with this person for X number of years and I've placed this many people with them. Paul was really more of the carrot to get them to go, and my relationship with how long I had known him and my proven track record of success with him, because the company was somewhat of a gamble, right? It was an unknown. That's why it was a gamble. They didn't know it. It wasn't a Burger King that had the name recognition to follow it. So we played off of the story of what did happen, the growth, but more so Paul, his background, how I've had placed people with him, and people were excited by that and wanted to be part of it.
Let me ask you this, Paul. Well, share everybody what the growth was. What was it when you got there? What did you grow to be from a revenue and employee base and all that sort of thing, so they can get a sense?
So when I joined, it was $300 million in revenue. It was very successful. The company had been awarded ACG's Growth Company of the Year and South Florida Business Journal's Growth Company of the Year. And right when I joined, we were awarded the Greater Miami Chamber's Good to Great Award. So there was a lot of good things happening. We grew the company to $1.5 billion. And it's only the growth of talented people that take it there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then talk about, you had a couple people that worked for you at Burger King that went to LNR, that went from LNR and followed you over to ABB, and now I think seems like quite a few of them are working at ShermanSamuels. So maybe give us a little insight on why follow Paul, why follow Jay, and now they're going to this totally unknown startup, right? Leaving larger companies, more established companies to go there. Like, what are you doing different? For the listeners, really, truly, like, what are you doing different that makes people want to follow you from company to company and take career risks along the way following you?
I'm flattered when somebody chooses to join me once. I'm truly honored when somebody makes the choice to do so another time. And to have the opportunity to work with Jay Samuels, Brent Alvord, Karen Murtha, this is our fourth time together, all of us, 30 years. So I have followed them as much as they've chosen to follow me. We've grown together. We've understood each other's strengths, our superpowers, our quirks, our flaws, and we're stronger together. And I think we've all come to understand that.
Yeah, that's great.
What I will add is, and I'm speaking for him, but I can just tell you, it's the mutual respect they have for each other. That's why they work so well together. The opportunity that he's afforded all of them is that the trust is there, but the mutual respect, you can see it. I know all of those people.
Yeah.
The respect goes both ways. There is no boss. Yes, he may be the brains behind founding this company, but they are all in it together, and they all feel that every day.
Yeah,
That's
great.
special.
What are some of those key building blocks for, there's people out there that are struggling. There's people that are doing a lot of things right, and nobody does it all right. But I mean, talk about, kind of the high level philosophy around building culture.
I believe you have to unlock and unleash people, and you have to find how.
Can I use that?
It's how somebody feels as they are locking their front door and they're walking to their car, and either there's a bounce in their stride, there is just a real vibrancy, and they're looking forward to what they're going to do today and accomplish today, who they're going to be doing it with, or there's this pit in their stomach, this disgusting feeling of, I can't believe I have to go to this place to do this work. And so I've always looked at it as I inherit a team that I have to understand who's already wired, who's already feeling good about themselves with what they're doing, the opportunity they have. Who do I have to unlock and unleash? And can I put them in a different place, in a different circumstance, with different people? Can I show them a different growth opportunity? And if I can do so, great, again, a great person feeling good about themselves is going to accomplish great things.
So I have tried over the years to master how to really hire and build a culture, and putting people in their genius and not trying to make people be something that they're not was something I had to learn, and it took many years. But once I learned it, it was freeing, because I built my team like a puzzle, and everybody brought something a little bit different and had a different edge to it. And if I was missing something, instead of dwelling on that this person is not giving me this, I went and found somebody who had it, and I added.
Right.
And so we just
Trying
got
to turn
bigger.
somebody into something they're not is
So
always a losing battle.
You can thank yourself somewhat for that, because that I learned a little from you.
Let's fast forward now to ShermanSamuels. I'd love to talk about, happy customer, one of your first customers, after so many years of you being our customer, and just great as we're on our growth journey. And our business was really, we doubled the company in 3 years, and, to some extent it was breaking the company, and being able to then bring you guys in who we knew and trusted to come advise us was really a great breakthrough for us. But tell us the inspiration behind, you and Jay getting together saying, you know what, let's go do this, because we've learned so much along the way. We have so much to share.
It's been more fun than I ever imagined, and I've enjoyed each of the stops in my career journey. I love this. It's intention is the word that you used. We very intentionally have chosen what we wish to be, what we wish to focus on. And back to Elizabeth's point, the team members, the folks in our team, are able to play to their strengths. And we've positioned ShermanSamuels at the intersection of what each person loves to do, and they're so good at it. And so our premise, Matt, was, having spent a career in finance roles and operational roles, and as a CFO, I very often was underwhelmed by the consulting experiences that were served to me. And
overwhelmed by the fees?
Always.
Always.
That's just a given with the sorts of firms that we were bringing in. And so our premise was, why can't we serve companies in the same way that we rolled up our sleeves and worked alongside our colleagues within our careers? Why can't we come alongside companies and enhance what they're trying to accomplish by bringing our superpowers and our passions and serving in a way that was differentiated than the consulting firms that we had experienced working with?
Got it. And thinking about building the firm, how have you been able to attract people that are leaving bigger situations to come to ShermanSamuels?
We've attracted them by having them understand how they can be a part of building something themselves. Each person truly feels that they own what we're building, and they get to leave behind the elements of their job they didn't enjoy. I'll take an example. We have Patrick Baisley on our team, who
I know him well.
Worked with us at ABB Optical. Absolute incredible talent. He loves to create like an artist, like a musician. He loves to build. He loves to understand a problem that nobody else can solve and he loves to create a solution. He doesn't love the monthly, quarterly, regular grind that he felt that in his time at ABB towards the end that he was living. So he gets to come, we play to his strengths, he builds the most incredible operational and sales-driven tools that make a difference in the hands of operators and revenue producers as they move forward to drive profitable growth.
Got it. And then you do a lot of different projects, right? You're working with companies of all sizes, small entrepreneurial companies, very large companies that have all kinds of challenges and opportunities that you're coming to address. Talk a little bit about the one thing that kind of cuts across, it would seem, any industry and any business you're working with right now, and how you guys get involved in that.
Yeah, the answer is no company ever cracks that nut. And even when they pay great attention to it, circumstances change. Somebody leaves, somebody else joins, a competitor changes their strategy, the economy evolves. And so I would say I agonized over having the right people in the right places, learning the right things, contributing in different ways, being rewarded for it at the right times. And as we come alongside companies and we look at the opportunity they're trying to execute, the first question we're always asking is, but where is the talent? Is it situated behind this opportunity? Or is it elsewhere, focused on something that isn't profitable, isn't part of the growth story? There's just a mismatch in how that talent is deployed and the alignment of understanding behind it.
Interesting. And are there gaps? And sometimes the gaps are you just have the wrong person, or the right person, but in the wrong area of the business, and focused on the wrong things that aren't really adding a lot of value.
Absolutely. Hardest element for a leader to accept is that somebody that's been with them, that's worked hard for them, they may have outgrown.
Yeah.
And sometimes there is a position to move them into. Sometimes it is just about handling them with dignity and respect and parting ways and helping them to be in a situation where they can enjoy themselves and be more successful. So we do find with each client that just having an honest assessment of the talent within their leadership team or within a particular function or initiative that we're helping to bring to life, it does require the honest assessment and the action. When there is a toxic leader, the inaction is so visible.
Yeah.
So having tough conversations with leaders about the steps that they really must take. Nobody ever parted with a toxic leader and regretted it.
Yeah, definitely being in YPO, talking to a lot of CEOs, it seems that every time they finally pull the trigger on making that hard decision to change out a person that they knew deep down was a big problem for them, but they were just afraid of change and the impact, and the person was there for so long, and feelings, right? Because people become part of the family and that sort of thing. But they always say, gosh, I don't know why I waited so long.
Another element that was important in building a culture was accountability. You can't choose when and to what you wish to be accountable for. You can't disregard another colleague's process or timeline or deliverable and then expect for that colleague and their function to be accountable to whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. And so at ABB Optical, as we continued to grow, just continually emphasizing the importance of being accountable all the time to everything, to everyone. And if you're not accountable. You're not mostly accountable. You're not accountable.
How do you start to try to turn things around? What's a turning point? What are some ideas? Because I'm sure you walk into environments and sometimes they're throwing their hands up in the air. They're just not sure what to do or how to get started. And again, there's definitely a lot of aversion to change in companies. So, talk about some of those kind of first steps you would take and what some of those steps are.
If a company has high turnover, low engagement, apathy, it is a crisis. And what I've always taken or characterized that in my career and how we share that hard truth with a client is treat it as the crisis that it is. You have to look at where to throw resource. I will always look at what interim resource do I need to bring in while I'm addressing the areas of the crisis. If it is a toxic leader, you have to move on. You have to give people the room to breathe under that toxic leader. People very often rise up and will thrive once that person is no longer there. So engaging A players in the company, every leader knows who they are, who their subject matter experts, their rising stars. So engaging those people to be the change that they wish to see, urging them to take the opportunity that is now created by moving out a toxic leader, that in itself can change the energy, increase the engagement. Each new hire is then an opportunity to bring in the right character, a character that you are excited to be around and have the opportunity to work with. And we would pair up and encourage clients to pair up their A players and their rising stars with that new talent. And asking those folks now to embrace being the change that you're trying to bring about.
What's the one big piece of advice you would give any leader, any level, any department, size company, as it relates to, building a better culture, improving the culture, and just kind of taking the right actions to kind of move things in a better direction?
Yeah, we're serving companies between, let's say, 100 million and $1 billion. And Matt, we find in every one of those situations, the commonality is that leaders are trying, or leaders are asking, and people are trying to do too much with too few. And the biggest gift that a leader can give to their people is the gift of time to do things right. They desperately want to, but if they are trying to run hard in their job and lead an initiative or integrate an acquisition, or in some way they're being brought into the next shiny object, just being ruthlessly focused, saying no, ending meaningless opportunities that don't enhance the brand, don't deliver value, they aren't profitable. The more that leaders can narrow down to what truly matters and then assign their people, give their people the gift of being able to execute and accomplish with those most critical opportunities, it really is unleashing.
Oh, that's great. Well, we appreciate all your wisdom and thoughts. Obviously, it's been a ton of fun for Elizabeth and I over the years to watch you grow. And because obviously we've all grown as leaders as we've been kind of going through this journey together over the last 30 years. And there's just been such incredible friendships that have been built. A lot of success has happened across many companies all together, which is really, really great. And we appreciate you coming in and sharing your wisdom with the audience here today. So thanks for doing that.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Absolutely.
And Elizabeth, thanks for joining us. It's so fun to host one of these with you. It's our first one together.
That's great.
Doing another one here soon, so that's great. And as it relates to the podcast, thank you all for listening. We hope to see you here again. If you liked it, go ahead and follow us and maybe make a comment there, and follow us on socials and our website. And look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.